guys, and welcome back to another video. And in this video I'm actually going to do a team preview for AFL Fantasy. I know that I said my team was blank a matter of days ago, but I have put together sort of a team based on the ideas and principles that I've sort of been talking about in my most recent videos, especially that midfield structure. I think I've got a team that I really like that sort of followed those principles. And so yeah, let's just jump into this video here. So as you can see, team starting with 140k, and you're probably going 140k, why do you have that much left over? I think there's actually a really weird conundrum here that you can almost start with a lot of cash left over and still be gaining a lot of value. I know that 140k is quite a lot, but it's kind of saved over for one set of trades, effectively. One move that might need to be had to fix up one line if they are named as a solo or a duo ruck. That probably gives it away. That's the obvious one. It is TDK. I have TDK in there, but Max Gawn's going to be that fix-up. And so that's where that money is going to go. And TDK is not going to stay there the whole comp, I don't think. I think he's going to be moved on to a Gawn or a Marshall when that happens in the end. But at the moment he is sitting there because Sean Darcy went down and there's no other good options there, basically, in the ruck line for an R2. The ruck line is so bad. It could even go to maybe I make plans to go to a Tim English, because it would, I think I can go directly there. Let's actually check the ruck line, because I won't give away half my team. I can pretty much get to English if I just put my utility player down a little bit in cash. I'm pretty sure I have 140k left over, so I need 34k to make it. So if I put my utility player down, or even someone else down, there are definitely other players I can put down in price. I get that. So anyway, let's go through this. I could probably make this a little bit bigger. There we go for you guys. So Harry Sheasel, pretty much, I wish I could find value, but I cannot find guys that I like at all in the backline that aren't going to lose effective average or average at all. If we look at the backline players, trying not to get rid of them, the best averages here. You can see Whitfield, Zorko, Flanders. Zorko is like 30 something, 36 maybe, yeah, turning 37. Whitfield has the early buy, as well as Zorko, and Flanders is also coming off an injury in pre-season, or a slight niggle. So they're all there. And then even Nick Martin is roaming around a little bit, doesn't have a set position, so that could cost him 5 or so points per game there, so I don't like it as much. Sheasel could easily be a big whiff, so he's just sort of there and definitely holds a lot of the cash there. It's like, what, 6% of the team value or so in him, 7% of the team value, something like that. So definitely a lot of value there. But a guy that I'm pretty confident goes top 6, and at a 112.1, I could see him easily going a 108 or so in that sort of mid-forward role, especially with Wardlaw out early. They may try and use him a little bit more in that midfield. So yeah, I'm pretty sure he gets that 50% CBA role that we need. Trent Rivers is probably the risky one, and that's probably why I have a little bit of cash left over. Sometimes you just got to risk it with these type of picks, and the reason why this isn't a Bailey Dale per se is just this round 12 buy, that I'm really worried that no matter what I do, I kind of get stuck with like 5-6 guys on it, even if I start trading guys. So that's why I'm worried about the round 12 buy a little bit, and that's why I've gone a little bit with Trent Rivers in the side. Not a guy that I'm particularly happy about per se, but it's his second season as a full-on baller, I believe. He definitely, I don't think, trained as much in the on-ball as this is going so slow in last year, and sort of was just sort of chucked in there from memory. I don't think he played a full season there. I think he played sort of 2/3 a season. Let me just check this here. So he ended up 30% CBAs last year for an 82. If we look at the games where he played over 50% CBAs, you'll see he averaged a 90.7. So there definitely is meat on the bone there with regards to that. So I'm definitely intrigued about it. And you can also see the 33% there. So I'm intrigued about a full season there, how he's going to go. And I think he could go 95. And so I'm more just doing it based on role and based on the fact that there's there's meat on the bone there. There's 8 points of upside there, which is still pretty good. He avoids that round 12 bye, and also he gets to train there fully, whereas we haven't really seen him forever play anything of a role like that. So I just think he's a guy that could easily do it, much to the same of what we had last year with like a Hayden Young. I have a feeling this is a similar mold where he probably doesn't go the 100, 105 that we want, but he's a good launch pad and probably goes like a 95 and just sort of gets that value and points on field early and sort of helps us get through that early buy stage. Is my plan with Trent Rivers, is just hope he gets through the first 8-9 weeks. And when you potentially don't have a full-on upgrade, you can just upgrade like a Trent Rivers to someone up or something like that, and maybe make a little bit more cash in that to build up. But he's also going to be also a slight little upgrade, because he'll be probably a top-end mid-pricer to a primo basically, or be an underpriced primo at that point to a top-end guy once they've got through their early buys. Like I said, with Zorko, Whitfield, Martin, who else is there? Flanders as well. So you get through their teething problems potentially with all of them, and then you grab them up. Because the gap is currently 300k or to sort of 250k to those guys. Can he bank that gap down to like 150, 100k, which is a lot easier to do it, do an upgrade there. That's basically the thought there. Similar thing with Jaden Short, is that I don't necessarily think he's going to go that big 100 marker. I think he's probably going to sit around that 95, mid-90s or so. Yeah, I just think that he's going to get a lot of ball down there. Probably going to be more fancy relevant than Supercoach relevant because of the people up the field that he's going to be kicking it to. But yeah, I just feel like he's going to be a guy that we sort of start and then we just upgrade once we get through the early buys. And that's sort of how it feels like for the a lot of the backline is just sort of get through this early buy, get access effectively to the early buy primos that we have, and then upgrade there. Matty Roberts, a guy that I've sort of talked about in the last couple of days about how I think he's getting this better role. And so, yeah, I have a feeling he's a guy that will definitely... He's got some interest there in terms of just the... if we go to Roberts here quickly, he's got the sub games. I was trying to think of the word, I couldn't think about it. The sub games last year that cooked off a little bit of value from him. But if we look at the season as a whole, because sometimes we do that as well, and then we'll take off the back part of the year, because you can see here he definitely started playing a little bit wing in the 3-4 weeks there. And we'll go back and we'll see what he played in terms of, this was his regular season. So he's already got 9 points of value. Then let's take off the 3 weeks that he was playing on the wing. You can just see it in the averages, etc. There was a wing roll there. If you take out him playing on the wing, he suddenly averages 93.5. And so there's all that. Plus there's the fact that Sydney are weighing up. They are genuinely weighing up, playing Patton down there as more of a lockdown player. And I'm saying this because Florent is... What was Florent averaging? Let me just go to Florent here. I'll duplicate it so that we don't lose all that progress there with Roberts. But if I go to Florent and look at his averages there, and look at his kicks per game, etc., he's averaging 20-odd disposals per game. Consistently in the last couple of years, 20-odd disposals or 19 disposals per game. If we look at Ben Patton when he was actually playing and look at what he was averaging, I think you're going to find it was more closer to, and there's definitely some sub-games in there, but when he actually played 80%, he was averaging closer to 15 disposals. So there's an extra 5 disposals per game. Even if you just spread it out across the whole back line, the other 5 or 6 guys, that's still an extra disposal per game. That's probably on average about, I would think, 2.6 or so. 2.5, 2.6 fantasy points per game, at least, if you just give it to every other player. That's an extra little bit for the likes of a Matty Roberts. So I just think he's the guy that definitely steps it up. And if we look at the back end of the year, you can see it here. I think he definitely does take a little, and I mean, he did take 2 kick-ins, but you can see the kick-ins definitely were his, and I just think that, yeah, he could be a very interesting buy, and I think he's a guy that you can take the risk on. Obviously, round 0 will depend a lot on it, but I think he's a guy that will get the keys to the back line, especially if Patton shows up. I'm very, very intrigued. Callum Mills, I always said that I wanted Callum Mills in sort of this F5 range here. Sorry, not the F5, the D5 range. I'm thinking about Hewitt and my comments on Hewitt and Travalia there. But Mills, I always wanted in that sort of D5 range because I wanted to load up a little bit, and that's why I think the strategy of the midfield is a lot better because you're not relying on some other guys that we'll get to talk to. But yeah, definitely want the Callum Mills at D5, and yeah, he should be hopefully a low-end keeper. Even if he gets a top 8, which I believe was about a 102, which I think was about Newman's score. Even if he goes like a 102 and goes top 8, you got a keeper there pretty much for the whole year alongside Cheezel. So you got 2 out of your 6 guys that you want already from your starting squad, and have only paid effectively a price of about, what's that, 186. So yeah, you've only paid 186 for probably close to about 215 points per game or so. So you're getting huge upside there. Travalia there. He's just the guy, I think, D6. Everyone wants him there. Bo Allen, I don't think I can trust him on field, to be honest with you. I think he'll score all right, but I don't think he'll score unfieldable. I think he'll have very much up and down games. I think he's going to be similar to scoring to what we saw with Jimby, where he has those high games, but also has those really low games. And then James Leake as well. This guy is just hoping that we can get some cash in out of there, as I do not trust going 2 rookies in the back line, given how weak we are for rookies. That Saad Al-Hul is probably the only one that I'm not starting that is probably going to actually be worthwhile. We want to stay away from those key defenders as quickly as possible, effectively, in the back line. So that's why I'm really worried about the back line. And that's why I've gone super strong with it. In the midfield now, I've gone a little bit weaker in the midfield just to sort of give myself a little bit of the extra money to put in the back line. You see probably an extra 100k less from Bont to Rosie, and then that extra sort of 200k from like a Hollands or a Windsor down to a Nevitt allows that upgrade of basically getting Trent Rivers in there from like a show and maker, which, yeah, that's basically what I've done. And so Brayshaw, M1, I think this is pretty much M1, M2 for a lot of teams, I think. Definitely chasing the value there and trying not to start the top end guys. Like Sheasel, I think everyone starting him, you can kind of get away with it, but trying to start, and also Cherry because there's no one else. But definitely in the midfield, trying to not start the top end guys. I know that if we go to the midfield line, you'll see Treloar, Merritt, Gordon, Dunkley, Bont, Steele, Walsh are all ahead of Brayshaw at least. And I tried not to scroll down too far there. Rosie is M2 is a little bit probably surprising for people, but yeah, definitely a guy that I've sort of looked at not having, but there's just too much value, I think, there with the sub-out games. If we take out the sub-out games for Rosie, I think you'll find that he'll definitely be up there. It says actually adjusted as lower, but let's just look at this. Let's remove the finals games and go to here. And then you'll see, I think, that was 70% tog, so you can include that. But I don't think you want to include the 50. This was a forward game, which we can probably not include because he's not going to be playing forward, I don't think, to that extreme. Not include the two injury games. And then suddenly you're looking at a guy averaging 103.4 from 17 games. That's 6 points of value. That is huge. So that's maybe not going to be top 12 for midfielders, but certainly going to be close enough to the market. And 6 points of upside is 60k that you save on some of these guys. And if you think about it right now, if you think about like a Dunkley averaging 107, if you take out about 45-50 points for the early buy, you take out 23 times 107.4 minus, say, a 40, let's just say 50 score, minus 50.2 there, and then you divide that by 23, because he's still got to play the 23 games, I believe, and you get an effective average of 105. So suddenly you've got an average, if Dunkley was to go the same, you've bridged about 100 and something K, you've gained 100k for about 2 less points of value, or 2 less effective average score, or something close to that. So that's basically what we're looking at there in terms of like a Rosie compared to a Dunkley, because that score drops out. Tim Taranto, we've sort of talked about this. Probably not a guy that I'm too keen on having the whole year, but we'll just see. I think it's just a wait and see with him. Clayton Oliver, pretty keen on that. James Beatling, he probably goes into the barrel of all the other guys. Not keen on Doherty. Will Day, we'll see how his opening round goes, but not really keen on Winter either. So it's basically him or Hollands, I think. And then Nevitt, I'm really keen on him, probably more keen than most. I just think he hopefully gets a start, but this could easily go down to a rookie here, and then just run an extra rookies. That's where the 100k could be gained. I could get in like the Laylas and stuff like that. And that's where I'd have enough money to go up to an English/Scorn there. So, yeah, definitely keen on the M6 being much more unders than a lot of people will have, because I think one of the mid prices is going to fail. And I don't think you can, and I think a lot of the rookies will gain a lot more cash quickly. But anyway, Cherry and De Koning, I think that's a pretty common set at the moment, as we just hope that De Koning is soloing. And then if we go down here, you'll see Boyd in the R3, and yeah, you can see the rookies here for the midfield quickly in Smith, Draper, Langford and Ashcroft, and then Leo Lombard down here is just some more cash saving there, I guess, in a sense. But I definitely want to take advantage of the rookies on the early buyers. I think they can gain a little bit more cash, and then you can trade them off quickly in there all. And that enables you to get some more cash gen quickly, because we know rookies generally are advantaged by the opening round. Jerry De Koning, Boyd, we talked about. McRae, Sanders, Bailey Smith, Caleb Daniel is a pretty common set at the moment. And yeah, I just think that they're pretty much locked in, alongside Elijah Hewitt as well, who's doing really, really well. Then you've got Connor Stone, who I think will slowly go up in teams. I think he's going to play. I hope he's going to play. One of Leak or Stone is probably going to play. I hope Stone gets games, because he did get that contract extension, but we'll just see how that goes. But I'm hoping he plays, because I think he's a better value on field than a Kako, to be honest, to small forwards. I just really hope that these guys can get some cash gen, because I'm not liking the forward bench prospects that we didn't. We were unlucky this year in probably not getting the like a Harvey Langford or a Cooper Hines on the forward line. That was a little bit unlucky, I feel like. Maybe even a Leo Lombard could have easily got the forward status. But it is what it is. You take with it, because we did get Elijah Hewitt and also Connor Stone, who I think will play in the midfield or sort of halfback for Connor Stone. I'm not exactly sure about that. And we also got Hutchinson, who's an alright just overpriced rookie that I think can do well off the wing / a little bit on ball. But anyway, that's sort of decided. No, I did take some time in the backline, because I think the backline elements is kind of up in the air a little bit. But the forward line, I think, is stock standard for me. No Berry at the moment, just for cash at the moment. And I feel like Caden Cleary, if he gets the non-sub role for 2 games, will potentially even catch up to like a Joe Berry or something, because he could put out a couple of 70 scores and a couple of 70 scores, and he just dramatically rises. Like, if we just look at this quickly, the cash generation from the early round teams, if we look at the fancy price projector here, and then I'll go to Joe Berry and I'll show exactly what I mean with this, with the forwards here. But if we go to Cleary, and we go, he's going to score, say, a 65 and a 70. He's suddenly 342k, and then we go to Berry and say Berry scores Joe Berry scores a 70. So after round one of them's 333k and one of them's 343k. You would have thought Berry's going to be the more pricey one, but suddenly you have already bridged a gap of 56k just from that opening round, effectively, is what I'm saying here. If we go down here, where was he? He was here. Yeah, because that 70 in week 2 makes 63k, and then suddenly he's already making 37k in round 2. So yeah, if he goes off, Caden Cleary to start the year, and even just goes and averages 60 to start the year, you'll see the cash generation is quite freakish compared to other guys, because he's already made effectively an extra 58k from having that extra game in. So I think so. I'm not 100% sure on how they're going to work it, but yeah, he could easily jump very, very quickly, and then suddenly at his buy, you're already looking at potentially having some maybe 20, 30k left over, plus also potentially someone's debuted, etc. So you can already move him on in this buy. And so that's what I was sort of thinking a little bit about with like a Leo Lombard, is that Lombard, if he just goes 60, say he goes 60 in the first couple rounds, 60 in the first couple rounds, he's already 382k. Obviously you could hold him in the over because he'd still have a negative break even, but you could move him on potentially for some cash to generate some cash, but you probably want to hold him or something like that. But already you're looking at potentially being able to move him on or something like that. So that's why I think these early round guys are so valuable, because they almost give you that 50k head start if they're going really, really well, and they just give you that opportunity to do something because they're going to give you that early cash gen, that cash gen early. So if you move them on early enough, they'll do really well. But anyway, I think that's the video there, going through the team reveal 3.0 for whatever it is for AFL Fantasy, going through why I think I'm going a little bit against the norm. That'll probably be the title of the video, but going a little bit against the norm in terms of my structure a little bit. And yeah, so if you did enjoy that video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload. And if you're listening on Spotify, give me a follow and a rating over there. And I'll see you guys in probably a Supercoach team reveal tomorrow. So see you guys then. Bye guys.